Hey guys, Sneaky Snake here, Brothers at Arms, World of Warships, and today's video we're going to take a look at our next installment in the community replay series, and this replay features Jackie AJK playing here in the Cleveland, the Tier 6 American light cruiser. He's playing by himself, some domination on the map straight. So the Cleveland, this has long been a very, very powerful Tier 6 cruiser, and quite frankly a ship that is not tiered properly, but I'll get to that in a moment. It has very good performing guns, albeit the only catch is that they have the typical American shell velocity and shell arcs. It's very poor. Takes a while to get there, but you do get 12 of these guns, and with the upgraded turrets, they do reload at about 8 seconds, so that's very nice. But the main selling point of the Cleveland is, of course, its anti-aircraft. You can see on the side of the ship there's plenty of those 127mm dual-purpose guns, the same guns you get on a lot of the destroyers from this tier and up, and then, of course, you also have the 40mm Oerlikon, or excuse me, the 40mm Beaufort, and the 20mm Oerlikon. And combined with that, you can get the AA rating on a Cleveland with a full build above 80. I know that for sure. I'm not sure if you can crack 90 on it, but a full AA spec, this thing is terrifying at Tier 6 and 7, and will even give a Shokaku and a Lexington at Tier 8 a run for their money. This is one of those ships that if you do throw the entire weight of your air group at him, probably would be able to take out most of the planes, or all of them, and still be alive to tell the tale. So this is one of those AA boats that you really need to be careful of. Now, why did I say it was wrongly tiered? Why did I mention that earlier? Well, the Cleveland actually was designed, built, and served right around the same time frame as the Baltimore, and as we all know, that is the Tier 9 American heavy cruiser. So I've heard in the works, I'll put the link in the forum, or yeah, I'll put the link in the description below. It's from the forums, excuse me. And it's basically discussing about American light cruisers and how they could be implemented into the game, and somebody is actually able to make a very hard case for them. And I think it's something that Wargaming should do in the future, because quite frankly, this thing at Tier 6 is a bit OP. You can see it does have 35,000 hit points, which is Tier 8 levels numbers and above. So this thing is very tanky as well. It has pretty good armor. It's, I think, over 120mm on the belt, and it's also pretty maneuverable too. It has, you know, a decent top speed of 32.5, but it has a very good rudder shift time and a very good turning circle. So this thing is one of those ships that you don't want to come across at point-blank range, especially if you're a destroyer. Anyway, enough about the Cleveland. Let's get into the gameplay. He's moving into Objective Bravo, and this is a very bold play here at the beginning. I think he feels a bit overconfident as top tier, but nonetheless, when you see the result of this replay, you surely will understand why. He's moving in here to Objective Bravo, and you can see that the enemy team is kind of done a banana peel. Half of their forces are split up to the A cap, and the other half are going down towards the C cap. So this is actually a very compromising position that he's moving into, considering that he'll be able to get shot at from both sides. So he'll only be able to angle his armor effectively to one set of enemy ships. The enemy team does capture Objective Alpha, unfortunately, so they do have the early lead. And one thing to note, there are 2 carriers in this game as well, not one. And this is something that you can have at the lower tier, and he does indeed get detected as he's about ready to move into Objective Bravo here. He's looking for some shots now, though. There's an enemy Arizona and an enemy Cleveland to shoot at, and it looks like he's going to take a peck at his Tier 6 counterpart. And you can see here the rate of fire is very nice, about 8 seconds, and the fire chance on these guns it's okay. It certainly is not Japanese or Soviet, but with the rate of fire, it is actually really nice. And compared to the Bigioni at Tier 6, you do get an extra set of guns. You get, like I said earlier, 12 instead of the 9 that one has. So if you do come across one of those things at point-blank range, you do have the edge in the DPM at least. And look at that, some very nice hits right there. Over 4,000 damage done there with 6 penetrating strikes on that enemy Cleveland, and he's actually hurting him pretty good. So he's very lucky to not be getting shot at as he sets a fire from the Dunkirk that's in Alpha. At this point in the replay, I was thinking to myself, where are the shells coming in from that French battleship? But unfortunately for the Dunkirk, and unfortunately for him, he does not get shot at. He does manage to get the assisted base cap. The enemy Cleveland does start paying attention to him now, as the Zuiho manages to take care of the friendly Bogue here early in the game. So unfortunately, they're going to be at a slight disadvantage with 2 carriers to 1, but his AA does start to do some work on those enemy fighters that are moving over, and you can see he's taking care of them very, very easily. Now, unfortunately, he runs across a Koenig who's only 9 kilometers away, and that Dunkirk that's off to his right side, and Leander, and what else is there? Some other cruiser. Looks like a... No, it's a Graf Spee, excuse me. Yeah, he's oh boy, he's in a very bad spot right here. So he does the right decision, and now he turns back away. Luckily, it looks like those are some heavy caliber shells from the Dunkirk, and he does not get hurt. He continues to turn away from the torpedo planes. Takes about another 3,000 salvo there from the Graf Spee. So at this point, he's got to run, and there's literally nothing else that he can do. He has to continue moving south. He does move into the smoke screen that was provided by the Leander, though, so that will be nice. So he will be able to start to farm some damage on this Graf Spee. One thing about that ship, Tier 6 German cruiser, is that it does not have the best armor. 8-inch caliber shells easily are able to citadel this thing on the broadside, and even bow in 152 millimeter high explosive shells are able to do a significant portion of damage to that thing. You can see he's only been able to get the rear turrets in, and he's doing almost 2,000 damage a pop, and he's also setting some fires. There we go. He gets his first one set, and as the second salvo falls in, you can see here, very, very nice damage done right there. Another fire set with 2,500 points. Very good stuff. So he's going to continue to focus on this guy, and I don't blame him whatsoever. That Graf Spee does have a hit point advantage over him, and there we go. Just listening to the sound of those shells hit that Tier 6 German brute. It's very, very nice. As he sets yet another fire, the guy has to burn his damage con, but since this is a cruiser, of course, he does not get the benefit of the 20, 25, or whatever second damage con, so more shells are going to fall in, and if they set him on fire, he's going to be hurting. Over 3,000 right there, 7 penetrating strikes, and he's up to about 28,000 points of damage, so you can see here the damage does pile up on this Cleveland, and there we go, yet another fire set. So at this point, the enemy team at A somehow did not decide to focus him down. They are pushing in towards his cap, unfortunately for him, though, but his team is trying to get on objective Charlie. The score is 241 to 487, so they're still at a big disadvantage at the moment. The Graf Spee is using his hit points, or his damage con, excuse me, to get some back, but he continues to trickle a little bit of his hit points. It's up to 33,000 damage, and now, you know, you can see here that he does stay in his artillery view, his artillery view a little bit more often than I would suggest. Sometimes he gets out of it when he's shooting, but it's very easy to get suckered in and to just continue. You know, you got that tunnel vision. You're just so focused on a ship that you're not really worrying about the enemy ships or other enemy ships that could potentially be shooting at you. But now you're going to see here the AP on the Cleveland. When a ship gives you a broadside, it's actually pretty good. And it's not the super heavy AP that you're accustomed to on the higher tier American heavy cruisers, but these things do hit very, very hard when the shells land properly. You can see here, getting a couple of citadels, takes the last of the 10,000 hit points off that Aoba, and he's up to about 50,000 points of damage, 2 citadels, 4 fire set, and 78 shells hit, and 1 assist to base cap. And you can see even his secondaries have a 6-kilometer range here. I presume he probably has AFT or something on it, but yeah, look at that right there. He's going to get a few secondary hits, which I find pretty funny. Maybe he'll get the kill with them, who knows. Get some more shells out from his front. He does take some shells from the rear, probably from the Graf Spee. By the sound of it, it was rather meaty when it hit, but that's okay. He's now in a position where he can freely shoot at this Arizona, and there's really nothing that ship is going to be able to do back to him. He is shooting his secondaries back, of course, but unless he was to get extremely unlucky, I think he'll be fine. Now, in this situation against that Arizona, I would actually recommend to switch to armor piercing. He is providing enough of a broadside that you would be able to do significant damage to that guy, especially in the superstructure, but nonetheless he continues to light him on fire, and the HE damage is starting to stack up over time, so that's always a good thing. Unfortunately, the friendly Arizona gets taken out from the Leander, or no, excuse me, the Arizona secondaries takes out his friendly Leander. That's it. But he is going to get hit by a torpedo from the Minakaze, and he gets taken care of. However, the game is still very much in question. It's 235 to 505, and the enemy team has now since recaptured objective Bravo. The Graf Spee is in there, so now he's going to switch his attention back to him as AA starts to open up on the enemy torpedo planes that are off to his port side that are trying to threaten him and his destroyer buddy. So we'll see if his AA is able to take care of it. You can just listen to the sound. So much AA. He takes quite a few hits from that Graf Spee, 5 of them, but luckily all were overpens. They hit right up on the front and the superstructure of his boat, so that's a very, very lucky thing for him. That Graf Spee probably should have outright deleted him if he aimed at the waterline, but nonetheless, now it is his issue to deal with, and the Cleveland's rate of fire is going to make mincemeat of him if he stays angled in and he doesn't take too big of shots. And then all of a sudden a T-22 appears at 6 kilometers away. His secondaries start to open up on this guy. His, AA continues to shoot more enemy planes down, and he's trying to kill the T-22. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. Unfortunately, his forward guns manage to miss the T-22, but he has to stay anchored here to this Graf Spee. He cannot afford to bring his full broadside to bear and try and hit the guy. More shells coming in. You can see there the Cleveland's armor actually holding up surprisingly well. Like I said, it's over 120 millimeters in some points, so it's actually very easy to be able to bounce some of those shells if you're angled properly. And there we go. He gets the armor piercing out. Only does about 1,000 damage. He probably should have had the AP loaded a little bit earlier. And then Dunkirk shells fly in and smash that dude to bits. Loses the last of his 10,000 hit points. Now he's got to do a little bit of torpedo beats here. He unfortunately shoots a little bit too far behind the T-22, but the excellent maneuverability of the Cleveland allows him to turn in and evade the torpedoes. I doubt that if he was in something like a Molotov or a Graf Spee, he would have been able to dodge those metal fishes. Gets a couple hits on the T-22, hits him in the engine deck a couple of times, but now he has to worry about a Koenig that's coming around the corner. Like I said, with the Graf Spee, the 12-inch shells on the Koenig won't really be able to do too much damage to him if he's angled in properly. But we'll see what that German battleship does. He's starting to turn in a little bit. Get a nice little cinematic view here. You can see, again, the Dunkirk is behind, and he is coming back in to help. And his Minakaze buddy is about ready to get on the cap. So if they're able to kill the T-22, then that'll make it life much, much easier. So then that Minakaze will have no qualms whatsoever about getting some torpedoes downrange at that guy. 341 to 592. So it's 68,000 points of damage. Pretty modest numbers for a Cleveland, but still not too bad. 14 planes shot down. So if he did die right now, this would actually be a pretty good result, but certainly nothing extraordinary. But that is why there is still quite a few bit left of this replay. He's now looking for some shots here on the T-22. That guy should have long gotten the heck out of there. Dealing with the Cleveland at this range is just instant death. This guy is going to die. There's not going to be anything he's going to be able to do about it. Unfortunately, his two front guns have a rather poor shot. His secondary actually managed to light the guy on fire, but he does not want to wait and let him burn down for the secondary kill. Gets the kill. Second ship destroyed in the game for him, up to 70,000 points of damage now. And that Minakaze is now looking for some torpedoes here on the enemy Koenig. He's only a couple of kilometers away from him, but I believe he is in smoke. Now he's getting his full broadside to bear on this Koenig, and you're going to see here the high explosive damage on the German battleship superstructure. There we go, 3,000 damage done, and he does manage to set a fire, which the Koenig then immediately puts out. A decision that I do not agree with whatsoever, but hey, maybe it's just a new guy to the game and he doesn't understand. Gets about 2,000 damage on his last salvo. More shells are flying in on the Koenig, and you can see here the damage output is pretty decent. At this kind of range with armor piercing, the Koenig does have enough belt armor on the side and barbette armor specifically where he wouldn't really have to worry about taking too much AP damage from the Cleveland, but he does continue to shoot high explosive because he's popped his damage con so early, so he might as well. The friendly Minakaze torpedoes are able to go in and score a couple of hits on the Koenig, and then it appears he's going to die. Yes, sir, from the Minakaze's flooding, but he was still able to get a decent bit of damage done out of it. And now at this point, there's only one cruiser left. The Leander is all the way over at Alpha, but he is going carrier hunting. And you can see there by those fighters that were flying over just off his port side that one of the carriers has to be around these islands here in a very short distance away from him. So that's very good. He's up to 17 planes shot down, and now he gets his fighter up, and there we go. He spots the enemy Ryuho. And you're going to see here just how flimsy these lower tier carriers are. He's going to get a couple of Citadel hits right there with high explosive. This is certainly something that is not an anomaly. It can't happen. So you get the best of both worlds, doing massive damage and getting some Citadels. There we go, another one right there. As he picks up the Confederate, and he's at 96,000 points of damage. He has his AA going on those bombers that miss. No chance of them taking care of him. So there we go. And now he's just making this Zuiho feel the pain here. He manages to light him on fire a couple of times, and there we go. Make that 3 fires. The secondaries are even getting in the fun as well. AA continues to go to work, and it's only a matter of time until he's able to kill this Tier 5 Japanese carrier. So now he's also on the hunt for the other one, too. And that other carrier has to be around here somewhere. This is the area of the map that at least the team that spawns on the western side, this is the area that they like to frequent at, up in this top left corner if you're looking at the mini-map. So there we go. He manages to get the kill on the enemy's Zuiho, burns him down, his 3rd kill of the game, and yet another Citadel. Make that 6 of them, at least 3 of them with the high explosive. He's up to 121,000 points of damage and 20 planes shot down. So there we go. That's the amazing game that we're talking about here, but there's still a little bit more left to be done. His team is still losing, but that's okay. The Dunkirk is trying to deal with the Leander, and his Minakaze friend is now moving up towards Objective Alpha, so they are going to have the cap lead here very shortly. And there we go. The enemy's Zuiho gets spotted at 11.5 kilometers, and at this kind of range, you can see how lazy the shell arcs are, but it's still relatively easy to land shells on target, presuming that you're able to aim properly. The Zuiho does appear he's trying to run away, but it doesn't really matter because every shell that hits this guy is going to do an amazing amount of damage. Like I said, these cruisers are so thinly armored that the high explosive just does a whole crapload. And there we go, getting some fires set, does over 4,000 damage. And this is how he's going to end the game, taking care of yet another carrier. It's always nice to be able to take out those CVs, especially if they've been a thorn in your side. And while they haven't necessarily for him because his AA is just straight up too powerful, it's very nice to hunt these guys down at the end of the game and pick up some cheap damage. There we go. He picks up the high caliber to go with his Confederate. Very, very good stuff right there. His Minakaze friend is getting in there, and he gets another Citadel with his high explosive. Very awesome stuff. The carrier's only at 12,000 hit points, and he continues to burn ferociously. So once again, it's only a matter of time until he's able to take care of business. The Dunkirk secondaries takes care of the Leander. The last credible threat to his team is now taken care of, and once again, the Zuiho is about to meet his demise. So right there, you saw that this thing, when it's top tier, is able to go around on its own surprisingly well, considering it has the armor, it has the AA, and it has the gun performance. And as his shells are falling in on the target, he manages to get one more Citadel and takes care of a nice game here in the Cleveland. Alrighty guys, taking a look at the post-battle results, 270,000 credits earned and 2,500 total XP, Confederate and high caliber, 152,000 points of damage done off of 256 shell hits that caused 8 Citadels and 15 fires, 20 planes shot down, 4 enemy ships sent to the bottom, almost a nice crack in there, 14 secondary hits, and of course 2 assisted base captures. Taking a look at the team score, 2,572 base XP, a very, very solid performance there. The only thing I can really say is that heading into B right there at the beginning was a very bold move, but clearly it paid off in the end for you. So, hey, whatever. Very, very solid game. So thank you very much for sending in this replay. And as always, the Sneaky Snake here for Brothers in Arms World of Warships signing off. Please like, comment, and consider subscribing to the channel. All of it is much appreciated. Hey, everybody, have a great day.